Alright, how's it going, YouTubers and art lovers? My name is Jose Trujillo. I'm a landscape artist. I'm an artist. I just like to say I'm a landscape artist, but I'll paint just about wherever I can get a hold of. And today I'm going to be doing a landscape painting with some mountains in the background, sort of like the one I did in the past session, in the last session. And let's get to it. I was mentioning in the last session that about realism and the idea, right? I didn't use that word, but the idea of realism of when people see a painting and say, is that really what it looks like, or what's going on, you know? Or why don't you just paint quote unquote normal like everyone else? And I was talking about how interesting that word is, realism, and how much controversy really it has created throughout the years. How much room for opinion and thought. How it has changed and evolved. And I think as the human consciousness evolves and changes, or our perception of it, we're going to have different talks about that as human beings. Here, the way I paint, it's similar to as I mentioned before, to the Impressionist, Post-Impressionist, and I guess other schools after that of painting. And I was mentioning to you in the past video that the reason I do this is because painting, I learned early on in my career as an artist that painting is it's more than just see, when you go out and paint, it's you're not. Your eyes are receiving something, right? This is the way I look at it. Your eyes are receiving information. You have these senses. You have these five senses, and your eyes are receiving information. And many painters only rely on their eyes. So when they see a painting like this, or they see a painting by even a more abstract artist, they kind of scratch their heads or say, well, what the hell's going on? What's wrong with this guy? Why can't he paint like the rest of us, or the professional trained way, or the classic way, or the realistic way, the realist way, or whatever? But some of us choose to paint in this way, and the thing is always the same. The argument is always the same. You paint abstraction because you can't paint realism, but that's not true. There are many great realist painters that have transcended the idea of the school of the realism, and vice versa. The reason why many of us paint this way, or some of us, or whatever, it's because we're not just looking to see the interpretation our eyes give us of the landscape. I'm speaking for myself, but I may be speaking for another, one or two other artists. I'm sure that they feel something like this. I'm not just picking up what my eyes are seeing. I'm picking up what my senses, my other senses, the touch, the feel, and past experiences and memories. It's overall, it's more than just looking. When you experience, even if you are just concentrating on just your eyes, when you go out and paint and you see the light, or you see you're not just experiencing it through your eyes. You're experiencing it through through the five known senses, and who knows what other senses that we don't know about, are also, without getting too abstract, metaphysical, or whatever about it. But who knows what other senses that humans, we don't understand, don't talk about, or whatever, are also catching that, What other aspect of us is catching that? And this is what I believe that the modern artists, especially the ones that broke from tradition, were noticing. Kind of like when Monet used to say, "I'm going to paint the model the large feet because the model has large feet," and the instructor was like, "No, you're not. You're going to paint it a certain way that looks." We already practiced and rehearsed this over, hundreds of years or whatever, and we have established that this is the best way it looks. But he was speaking of a deeper type of realism, a realism that goes beyond something socially acceptable, a realism that came from within him. It was true to him. It wasn't something that was just passed down. Of course, he used what was passed down and recycled that and applied that, and then let go of what didn't work. And of course, that's what tradition does. Tradition teaches us it's a vehicle. You use it. You learn the basic rules. You learn many times you need more than the basic rules, but you use that, and then you start growing and maturing, and even, you see it with artists like Chuck Close. Look at his portraits. My God, his first hyper-realistic portraits were insane, right? Very well done. This most megalithic, head on canvas, and then after a while. Or he stuck to the sides, I think. But after a while, he started maturing. That doesn't mean that it was better or worse. It was that he was going deeper. He was going deeper in his own experience, and you can see how his portraits begin to change. Because I think artists are trying to go deeper. Whether you paint realism or whatever you paint, if you're not going deeper, and what I mean going deeper is going beyond what was taught to you. Just like Monet was taught something by the painter Baudin, I guess, Eugène Baudin, and he needed to go deeper. He couldn't stay at Baudin's level, not just in traditional painting, but in the sense of how he experienced the landscape, how he, even how often he painted. Maybe he painted more often. I'm sure he painted more often than Baudin. And we saw it in Picasso too. His dad was a art instructor, and he had to. It's the quest of all great things. They have to overcome what was given to them. They have to use it and then overcome it in order to grow. Because growth, I believe, for human beings is inner. It goes deeper. Growth for human beings at a certain point it starts. If you're not going deeper in your artwork, I don't think you're growing. Maybe you should stop painting. I don't know. But you have to go deeper. You have to. It's the way to go. Whatever you need to do, whether you need to paint more in order to whether you need to observe more, maybe you need to take long pauses and observe. There's something you need to do that was beyond what was taught to you. And I know I try to get a little philosophical here, but hey, that's me. So, and this is my artwork. So, I guess I'm forcing you to enjoy it with my painting slash document commentary in the background. I'm sorry for those of you who don't like my voice. Or you can mute the video. I remember having an art instructor in high school and telling me I used to close my eyes when I painted because I started feeling something different when I closed my eyes. And he told me we don't close our eyes when we paint. You know, the whole purpose of painting is to look. And I remember not agreeing with him, but of course listening to him, but not agreeing. I felt that when I closed my eyes, something else came through. It was a non-judgment. And although I didn't know where I was laying to paint, there was a level of non-judgment towards the artwork that I felt was necessary to experience. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making these paintings. Let me move this so that you can see it. Sorry for the shakiness of the camera, but there it is. That's what a Trujillo looks like. Have a great day.